Coming to you live from Pier 17 in the South Street Seaport and brought to you by Heineken. Welcome back to Jalen and Jacoby. Jalen Rose. I called him out early in the season, but I have to admit, the stretch mark 5 is doing his thing. Nikola Jokic, who I call the stretch mark 5, had 29 points, 13 rebounds, and 9 assists last night in a win over the Blazers. Didn't just beat the Blazers, beat the brakes off the Blazers, and they're just half a game behind the Clippers for the 2 seed in the West. What did you think about Jokic and the Nuggets' dominant win last night?
I'm just glad to hear you putting some respect on my guy's name. And I want to make sure, as a leader of the new school, I continue to highlight how, as a point center, Jacoby call him a stretch mark 5, great name, you should trademark it. How if you looking all of a sudden now, these guys are initiating offense and getting double-figure assists. Look at Bam Adebayo in Miami, how his ball skills have developed. There are teams that are now running their offense through their 5 position, and it's been an evolution of the game to watch it be inverted. And nobody embodies it like Jokic. And so now all of a sudden, like you said, he played his way into shape. The Nuggets have a legit chance to have a top 2 or 3 record in the Western Conference, which is going to upset potentially the apple cart of the Lakers and the Clippers, whom a lot of people, including myself, feel are the actual best teams in the West. The Nuggets and or the Jazz going to interrupt potentially those 2 LA teams playing in the Western Conference Finals.
Well, Jalen, you know Jokic is my guy, but I got some bad news for you and your guy. Dame Lillard came back to earth last night. You know what? He's been superhuman for so long. He came back to earth 8 for 23. He did have 21 points, but it was the first time he shot under 40% since January 9th. Just not his night, or do you think that the streak could be over?
No, I think that Denver has a lot of tall, long, athletic defenders that can switch a lot on the perimeter. They did a lot of contesting at the rim, contesting at the three-point line. Their bigs did a better job of trying to shield in the pick and roll when Dame rolled down the middle. The weak side helped pretend to be there. The Nuggets defense was all over Dame. They didn't want to have him have a big game, and that's why he ended up with 23 shot attempts and only 21 points.
So, Jalen, you're a loyal fan of your Detroit Pistons, but if you listen to this show or watch this show, you know I'm a Die Easy fan. Like, I'll jump on a bandwagon, jump off a bandwagon real quick. And you know what? I'm off the New York Knicks. The news came in yesterday that the New York Knicks have parted ways with Steve Mills. But not only that, there was follow-up news that they were looking to replace him with who? Masai Ujiri. Here's the problem, my guys. Masai Ujiri's under contract, and he's happy. And I don't think he's going anywhere. Like, I don't understand how you can – I understand why you could part ways with Steve Mills. The team has been terrible under his guidance for the last 7 or 8 years. But I don't understand how the next news is we want Masai Ujiri when Masai Ujiri is not just under contract somewhere else, happily under contract somewhere else. What is going on with the New York Knicks?
So I got a plan for New York Knicks fans. And sometimes happiness is right in front of you, and you may not even appreciate it. And it's not even going to cost you a blank check to do it. It's not even going to cost you a blank check to do it. Exit Steve Mills. They should allow Scott Perry to actually make basketball decisions.
Oh.
I saw the fine print of the release that said that he's going to be the GM for the foreseeable future. Now, of course you want as many great people at their jobs in one place as possible. And if you are able to land Masai with a blank check to come to New York to oversee all basketball, be the president, you're still going to need the GM. And he's right there in front of you in Scott Perry. So it's going to be interesting to see how that dynamic plays out, but only one person decides. That's James Dolan.
Well, I've got advice for Knicks fans as well. And that was very well put and smart, and I like what you did there. But my advice for Knicks fans, just become Nets fans. You know what I mean? You got KD running around. You know, we've been at Barclays a few times. It's a really good time out there. Just become a Nets fan.
Whoa.
That's like all diehard Knicks fans. Just become a Die Easy fan.
Whoa.
Jump over to Brooklyn. That's what I did. I'm a Brooklyn Nets fan right now. Sorry, MSG. I'll be at Barclays. Right now, we have some statue news. I would like to welcome in senior statue analyst, not just of ESPN, but of the world, Jalen Anthony Rose. Jalen Rose, the gentleman being honored with the statue is Hank Gathers. Now, you and I, we're washed. We're over the hill. We know exactly who Hank Gathers was and his significance. But for those that are younger than us, please explain to them who Hank Gathers was.
Rest in peace to the late, great Hank Gathers. His style of play was a bull in the china shop. He changed ends really fast. He liked to operate on that baseline. And Loyola Marymount played in a free-flowing style where it was pace and space before it was defined as such. And if you think about it, their coach, Paul Westhead, won a championship in 1980 with the Lakers with Magic. And then all of a sudden he ends up at LMU creating a collegiate style of play that was really effective. And nobody embodied it like Hank Gathers, who tragically died on the basketball floor 30 years ago this March Madness. And in honor, his teammates, in particular Bo Kimball, went out and played a terrific NCAA tournament. And to pay tribute to him, Bo Kimball shot his free throws with his left hand throughout that tournament. It was one of the most memorable runs that we've seen, and Hank Gathers, rest in peace, gave his life to the game, literally.
I mean, I have watched very closely about 35 NCAA tournaments, and we've seen so many Cinderella stories, but there was none more significant in my life and more emotional than this Loyola Marymount team as they made their way through the tournament. Now, Jalen, we mentioned that Hank Gathers is being honored, and I know you really like outside statues, not inside statues. That's very important to you, so I have good news. This will be an outside statue. But my question for you, senior statue analyst, Jalen Anthony Rose, what should the statue look like?
Oh, his physicality on the right side of the rim, carving out space against a defender, going up heavy with the right hand. He'll bang it on you, too. So, they have great options of how it can look and how they can sculpt it, but that's how I would like it. On the right side of the rim, bodying a defender, knocking them back on their heels, and just doing a power move.
Look forward to seeing that statue, and I also look forward to discussing what LeBron James did last night. It was phenomenal. We'll tell you what that is and break it down right after this.